met with her. She hosted us in Atlanta with a big Africa American Credit Union dinner party in one of the events in the United States. So you are most welcome. First and foremost, the Ministry of Cooperatives and MSME is about the bottom-up economic transformation agenda of this administration. And as my commissioner and the peers have said, we have over 28,000 cooperatives in Kenya, positioning us as the best in Africa. We have 14 million members in the cooperative movement, and our cooperative movement is broken into almost 5 or so pillars. We have the financial services and investments, which forms the cooperative circles. And we have regulated, we are regulating about 368, whose assets have attained $1 million, approximately $1 million. Those ones joined the regulatory regime, and we have about 360. Some are very big, including some of the ones you're visiting are some of our best. And we'll believe, other than visiting them, you'll also have a view across, you'll be able to see and tour the country. You'll see the dry parts of the country and also the highlands of the country. Where tea, dairy, coffee are produced. So that is one pillar. The second one is farming and production. The coffee production in Kenya, which is a key mainstay of over 800,000 households, is done through the cooperative. We also have tea, we have fish, we have cotton, macadamia, and we do fishing, artisanal fishing using cooperatives. We also have housing cooperatives. People buy land, come together, buy land, and jointly develop. And we also have transport circles. People come together, procure transport vehicles, or even the two-wheeler transport, and they form a cooperative. So all these are the pillars that anchor the cooperative movement in Kenya. Out of this, we are encouraging most of them to also branch out to financial services, and hence the partnership that we are looking forward between ourselves and the United States and the rest of Africa. So I want to, at this juncture, thank ACOSCA, led by the CEO, George Ombundo, for hosting this CEO's trip and visit. And we look forward to a number of engagements. I'll be co-hosting you tonight for dinner in Eldoret, and also we'll be meeting you and the rest of the cooperative movement in Naivasha along the week. And you'll be able to have a feel and touch of the entire movement in Kenya. We have also we are also preparing to host the SACA conference, which will be held next year on the background of what I got the flag in Botswana a month ago. And I represented our president in Botswana, and we got the flag to host this Africa Cooperative Savings and Credit Annual Conference or Congress here in Nairobi. We were about 1,000 delegates in that conference, which was addressed by the president of Botswana together with his cabinet. And during the Congress, we reiterated Kenya's commitment to promotion of cooperative models to foster economic growth, empower local communities, and enhance social development in our local communities. So I believe the purpose of this courtesy call is equally, we want to also use it to sensitize and even extend the invitations to yourself to join other African delegates during that conference. And I remember when I addressed the Africa American Credit Union in Atlanta, I invited them, and most of them expressed interest to come here. The whole purpose of this partnership, working together, engaging, exchanging ideas, conversing, interacting. When you visit Boresha, Police Sacco, and Imarisha tomorrow and today, I'm sure after your visit, you will leave. You'll have left a word of encouragement, a word of advice, and also give them support, because we are mentoring each other in the spirit and principle of cooperatives cooperating with each other. The other issue that maybe we'll want to really encourage our cooperatives, local cooperatives, is to really follow how the credit unions like Bookfast, PUC, and she had committed herself to be here. I think she's still settling down in our new office. I met her and she was really enthusiastic to come here, PUC, and all the local government, the Resource One, Northern Family, and even Central Credit Union, all the unions that are here, that have come. Our cooperative circles in Kenya still require capacity building in terms of governance issues, technological development, and even management of the membership, and even investment ideas, how to manage resources, manage savings of members, and assure the members that a shilling in a bank is as safe as a shilling in a credit union, as safe as a shilling in the cooperative circle. So all this, we are really looking forward when you meet these 3 circles that have been chosen, and even on Wednesday, is it Wednesday or Thursday? When you meet this Wednesday, when you meet the larger group of the cooperative movement, we look forward to really making a statement of mentorship and also helping us, even us as government. We've said this again and again. You may say it better, because our interest is to secure our cooperatives. Any impact, any failure, any collapse, any negative reporting about one cooperative in Kenya as a cross-line impact on the entire sector. And so when we secure one, when we have one circle, then safe and they are secure, that is how we will grow. We are coming up with a few regulatory improvements. We visited America with the regulator the other day on the shared services, enabling the circles to come together to share technology, share services, including ATMs, which are largely owned by banks. But by coming together, we will be able to pool technology, protect each other, be brothers keeper, sisters keeper, by pulling together all the circles in Kenya. And that way, we can share. We don't have to put up 10 ATMs in one small center. We can share one. We do not have to borrow money, expensive overnight borrowing from banks and from other financial institutions. We can borrow from each other at a reasonable agreed price. That is the message that possibly will really anchor and develop our circle movement in Kenya. The other issue is also on the need to promote the circle movement in Africa. The financial institutions have a lot of money, but the problem is access to the same resource. They need security, they need titling, they need collateral. Cooperative members come in as founders and members, owners of the circle. It enables fellows and Kenyans who may not have opportunity, they don't have big fathers and mothers, to start their lives. So as we promote intra-Africa trade, the circle movement can break the barriers, can break the borders, can cross borders, So we are looking forward to yourselves encouraging this to happen in Africa. And that was really my message when I addressed the ACOSCA conference, SACA conference in Botswana. The Africa Free Trade, and our president is on record, has pronounced himself promoting the need for financial inclusion in Kenya. Financial literacy. This is the biggest challenge that we have in Kenya.
About about 800 billion Kenya shillings. When you have to translate it into US dollars, you just divide by about 140, and you will find how much they have really. And our SACCOs have also managed to have quite a number of membership. Right now, it has actually over 60% of our cooperatives here in the country, they are SACCOs. And it means we have over 10 million Kenyans who are members. So it's like over 6 million Kenyans, they belong to at least one or two SACCOs. And our SACCOs, they are mainly based on employees, people who are salaried, people who are earnings. We also have community SACCOs, which are people in a particular area, particular region, who are not necessarily employed, but they are able to bring together their savings so that to be able to attract and be able to access some credit. Mainly our SACCOs, they give loans at an interest rate of averagely 1% per month at a reducing rate, which translates to about 7% per annum. And is one of the most competitive financial institutions where Kenyans can access loans at a very low interest rate. And right now, the SACCO subsector in Kenya has become like a way of life. Actually, every Kenyan who has an income at one time, he needs to become a member of a SACCO. And I believe very soon we are going also, we are trying to bring in the issue of governance, because that's one of the serious challenges we are facing. And that's why about 10 years ago, the ministry came up with a specific legal framework to regulate the SACCOs. And that's why my friend here, Peter, is a CEO of the regulator for SACCOs. And under that SACCOs that are now prescribing to the prudential standards, currently we have about 360, meaning the chunk of the rest of the SACCOs, they are not under prudential regulations. But we believe as time goes by, we are also trying to bring them on board so that also they are able to embrace the prudential regulations. But the few SACCOs that are regulated, they mobilize over, they consist more than 80% of the national savings. So, but we still believe that even the small SACCOs that are not regulated, we want also to bring them on board so that we can embrace good governance, and so to ensure that the monies members are contributing, they are saving with them, is safe and secure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
SACCOs or credit unions as they are now, and we proud ourselves of the position we are in. But we want to grow more. We want to learn from the best, and that's why I think your visit is very, very important to us, because we know what credit unions have done in say, for example, in the United States, where a member of a credit union does not need to have a bank account. All his financial needs are sorted by the credit unions, as opposed to here, where I'm a member of the SACCO, but I also have 2-3 bank accounts. The question is, why are people thinking it's important to go to banks when we know that the movement, the SACCO movement, the credit union can be able to sort out their issues, to give them 100% one-stop shop for all your financial requirements. I think that's the aim. We are not stopping here. We want to be like the best, and I think your visit is very, very important. Secondly, in this fifth administration, the main rallying core is really the bottom up. We want to pull along millions of Kenyans who are not within that the financial ecosystem, people who are not salaried. And you may know that in 60 years ago, the GDP of this country and big countries like Singapore and South Korea were at par. In fact, my cabinet minister tells me in 1963 we gave a loan to South Korea because we were at par. We did not do the same things they need, and that's why they are ahead. And one of the core things is habit of savings. We do not just save enough. And I think the movement, the SACCO movement, stands at the core of mobilizing national savings, and more so to fit within this administration's agenda, value chains, more people having more money in their pocket, and more people saving more. So I think your visit is very welcome, and we really look forward to learning. We look forward to showing the best of this country, what we are doing, and then from there we can have tailor-made ideas on how we can progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. As you go across the country, you'll appreciate we have different levels of growth, or levels of our asset base, our membership base, our membership numbers are differing. We have the top cooperatives that started a long time ago, all the civil servants, private sector, and then the opening up of the common bond. So the common bond was a game changer, because with that you even brought in people who are not formally employed to join the SACCOs. So the potential for collaboration and knowledge sharing between Kenya and American cooperatives credit union will be, which is beneficial, is highly welcome in Kenya. And I'm committed to promoting the SACCO Congress and its associated opportunities, including this kind of visit that we are having this week. So with those many remarks, I think on behalf of my team, on behalf of the government of Kenya, once more, welcome you to Kenya, welcome you to Nairobi, and I say karibuni sana.
And overseas and the cooperative movement since 1987. So it's, I guess you'd call me a lifer with cooperatives. I do have experience. I've been with Schools First for 9.5 years, but before that I worked for our National Trade Association, similar to the organizations that are represented here, the Credit Union National Association, as well as the California Nevada Credit Union League. So I worked very closely with the regulators in the U.S., both the federal regulators at the National Credit Union Administration, as well as state regulators in California and Nevada. It's sort of, we have what's called a dual chartering system in the U.S. But what you said is so important in terms of the importance of the regulation of credit unions, but also the promotion of credit unions, the promotion of good governance, the promotion of shared services platforms, which we call CUSOs in the United States, credit union service organizations. We're all involved in multiple CUSOs, whether it's ATMs or lending CUSOs, or there's any number of them. Insurance services all allow us to collaborate and do things as smaller institutions. Even our credit union, which is a large credit union, is small compared to global banks, and that's who we have to. I appreciated the comment that a SACCO member in Kenya has to also have a bank account, and the acknowledgement that in the U.S., I'm sure many of our members have bank accounts, but they don't have to. They can get all of their services from Schools First Federal Credit Union if that's what they want to do. And we serve school employees and their family members, but we also work closely with community credit unions around the country. I guess I would just say, and happy to have a conversation, that there's so much that credit unions can do. They're local, They're in the community. They're, as you acknowledge, they're owned by their members. Credit unions can do things that banks simply can't do. And it's not necessarily because that the banks are doing anything wrong. They're just not local. They're not in rural communities. They're not as closely tied to their members as credit unions are. How can you be when you're a large commercial bank? It's not the same business model. The cooperative model, as you said, is so important to people of modest means, a term that we use in the U.S., middle income people and rural communities. I'm really pleased to see your commitment and that of your team, the government's commitment to promoting cooperatives, and anxious to help in any way that I can. I've been involved with ACOSCA for many years, and I always learn more from the credit unions overseas that I can share, but I'm always happy to share. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we'll also have Maurice Smith.
Sorry.
Maurice, out of the engagement that you've been having with them, next year we'll be having close to 30 leaders from African American Credit Union Coalition. And Beverly, who is the CEO of Boeing Credit Union, will be part of that delegation.
Good.
And Maurice Smith represents the group. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Thank you, George. Mr. Cabinet Secretary, it's a pleasure to be here. I've been in the credit union business for 43 years. And through that time, I've learned a few things about what works and what doesn't work. And so I'm really pleased to be part of this delegation, to be to have a conversation with SACCOS, with you, and with COSCA about what's going on here in Kenya. This is a beautiful country, beautiful people. It's really a pleasure to be here. And so I believe, after 4 decades of working, that the best opportunity for consumers to thrive is with a financial cooperative they own. Your words, your statements about financial inclusion is music to our ears, because it's the things that we believe that knits credit unions together to be able to help our communities and help our members. So we believe it is in the interest of communities to have a strong SACCOS network and system to serve their members. We also believe it's in the interest of government to have a strong economy and a strong community that's going to be supported by SACCOS. And so to get a thriving economy and a thriving community, we believe there's a few things to sort of help foster that. I'd like to just share a couple of those with you. First of all is having a healthy regulatory structure. We have regulations in the states that determines how we offer services, how we operate, our corporate governance, how we manage ourselves internally, and how we relate to the community. We think that governance is helpful for leveling the playing field among all the SACCOS and all credit unions, how we are to perform. We believe it's important to have a financial safety net, not only for the SACCOS, but also for the members of the SACCOS as well. In the United States, depository insurance is extraordinarily important. There was a time in the history of our credit unions in our country that we didn't have deposit insurance as banks have. That was a game changer for us, that when all depositors and all members of credit unions receive the same amount of depository insurance as banks have, and it exists today, then that allowed members to see credit unions as their primary financial institution, the place where they want to go and conduct business, and they do not have to go to a bank. Bill, some do go to a bank, but they do not have to go to a bank for financial services. We believe it's important to have cooperation among all the stakeholders, not only just cooperation among the SACCOS and government, but cooperation among the SACCOS themselves, but also cooperation among the SACCOS and other parts of the economy and other members of the community. It's that cooperation we think is sort of knits us together and not see ourselves as adversaries or competitors, but see ourselves as helping one another. It is true in the United States that when something bad happens to one credit union, it affects all credit unions. And that's just part of being part of a community, being part of a family. So we think that happens here as well, and that sort of impresses upon us that cooperation is so very important. The final piece I mentioned is on governance effectiveness. It's really important for an organization to succeed is to have good, strong corporate governance It's how you make decisions, how policies are made, and how we just operate our business. And so to see that being an emphasis here in Kenya for the South Coast is exactly the kind of thing that we focus on as well. But again, it's been a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to what I can learn. Maybe one or two tips we can share, but I'm really interested in what I can learn to bring back to the States to say this is what the beautiful people of Kenya have shared to the United States as a gift.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. So we'll have Marlene show.
6 million people, 20 million adults are struggling financially today. And of those 20 million, 17 million have less than 100 British pounds in savings to fall back on. And then we have about 2 million people in the United Kingdom who are unbanked. They are so financially excluded that they couldn't go to the door of a bank and open a bank account. So we have very similar challenges that you have here in Kenya in relation to financial exclusion and financial inclusion, if you like. And as George said, my credit union in Scotland, we are a community credit union. We did start out life as local government employees back in 1989, so quite a long time ago. But in 2002, something very, very significant happened to the SACCO movement in the United Kingdom, and that was we moved from very little regulation and no deposit, no security of our savings into the banking regulation. So we are now part of the banking regulation in the United Kingdom. We do have our own rule book as SACCOs, but we are part of the banking regulation, and we get all of the rules and the regulations and the security that go with that. And I can tell you in 2002, SACCOs were not very happy that we were moving into the banking regulator, but actually it has been one of the most successful things for us. We got credibility as SACCOs because now we were up there with the same security and the same framework as a bank, so we got credibility. And as I mentioned, we also have access now to the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, which protects all of our members' savings up to £85,000. So we're in that framework, which has worked really, really well for SACCOs in the United Kingdom. But as I mentioned earlier, we still have a lot of issues with financial inclusion, and our government actually has got behind the SACCO movement quite considerably. And one of the very successful programs I wanted to share with you that government got behind with the SACCO movement to support people who are financially excluded. And it's a program, and it's called Growth Fund. And it's called Growth Fund for two reasons, because it's to try and grow the capacity of the credit unions in the United Kingdom, because our credit unions, in comparison to other jurisdictions around the world, are very, very small. So it's designed to help grow credit unions by bringing more members in, but at the heart of it, it's designed to get people who are financially excluded into the SACCO. So the Growth Fund is government funding, so it's underwriting, if you like. The SACCO is lending to people who have very few means, very few financial means, who are unbanked. So we're giving very small loans to individuals to help them. It might be to help them get transport to work. It might even be helping them. It's very small loans, helping them to buy some tools if they're self-employed. And the idea behind this is that the SACCO gives the loan. The loan is underwritten by government, so there's no risk to the SACCO at this point. But the idea is to give the small loans to help people start on a journey to be more financially included. And the reason they chose SACCOs is, as has been mentioned by my colleagues, is we can provide education, we can help with financial literacy, we can help with very small savings. So as part of this program, we have a policy, if you like, now with these members who are coming in through the Growth Fund is save if you can, when you can. So if you get to the end of the week or the end of the month and you have a couple of pounds left, put it into your credit union and start to build financial capacity. So it is very much about a journey, and it's been hugely successful. Government put £10 million in originally, and the idea is as we make profits, our surpluses on these loans, then we invest those surpluses back into the program so we can lend to more people. So the pot is growing all the time. So every loan that's paid back, and I can tell you we have very, very low delinquency on these loans because we're the only organisation in town helping people on a journey to start building a savings habit, to start building financial resilience, to find some route to be better educated. We've got lots of different programs that go alongside of that, but getting people on a journey. So in my credit union, if someone then goes off and opens a bank account, we're okay with that. Because in the United Kingdom, most of our SACCOs at the moment are not full service. We have about 20% are full service, where you can get your checking account, you can get your mortgage, you can get your insurances. So we're on the similar journey to you to really build capacity of the SACCOs, but this is one way government has helped us, as I said, to not only build capacity for individuals, but to build capacity within the SACCOs as well by bringing new members to the table. So it's been a huge success. Every credit union, my credit union got £1 million. That £1 million today is now worth $3 million. That's how we've been going for 10 years, but we're still lending that money to people with fewer financial choices. So we're still going out into the communities and helping those that are unbanked, financially excluded, that need to start that journey to building financial resilience. So I want to congratulate everything that you're doing here in Kenya. As my colleagues have said, I am learning. That's why I come to Kenya. Every time George says come, I'm here because I'm learning and taking that learning back. But I hope we're bringing a little bit back to the country. And so thank you for all your service. Thank you for everything that you do. And thank you for ACOSCA for enabling us all to come together today.
Thank you. I appreciate the credit unions from Scotland and from America and even Canada. You remember we were in Vancouver, and later on I visited Dejeting in Montreal, and I truly, I was really amazed by the growth and an organization that was started by one person somewhere in Canada has grown to be a big financial inclusive institution, offering all the cocktail of services that you would dream of in any financial institution. And they've even gone to value addition. They are supporting dairy value addition. They're doing nuts, they're doing honey, they're doing transport. It's extreme, it's quite inclusive. So the safety nets that you have talked about in all this journey to growth are underpinned by certain regulatory actions that we have begun. One of them is the Central Liquidity Facility that will pool the resources together. That bill is before Cabinet for consideration and approval. And once that happens, we'll be able to now see and be able to share any liquidity challenge that one of us may have. The second the regulatory development that we are pushing and is before Cabinet is Deposit Guarantee Fund. Yes. It's an insurance for the banks have already, and have had it for a long time. And have been able to secure depositors by coming up with an insurance. The SACCO movement is completed the public participation, collected and collated views from the people, from the stakeholders, and the Deposit Guarantee Fund is again a document that is before Cabinet. So we are we are following your steps, and we believe in the nearest future we should be able to be at par with the best of the best. And I encourage you, I want to appreciate the growth, the size, and the scale of operation, the impact. One SACCO, I think one of the largest SACCO we have here has a membership of
Mwalimu Sacco has how many people? United has 400,000 members. So when I look at yours, 1.4 million, 1.2 million, we are catching up.
Yeah, that's good.
We are catching up.
That's good. Exciting.
We are coming up. So ours is to mobilize the 14. The people membership are there. The interest is there. It's been a culture of our culture, so it's easy to turn around. The moment we deliver a security promise, the moment we deliver credibility, the moment we deliver assurance, all these members, 14 million, will be with the SACCOs. So I'm challenging my SACCOs in Kenya to really ensure we offer our services credibly and sustainably, and we will have all the members that we want. So thank you very much, and unless somebody is closing word of vote of thanks or close. Movement in Kenya, with this honored visit by America and Britain, Scotland, visit by leading CEOs of leading SACCOs or credit unions in America. We've had the opportunity, we have had an engagement, a discussion, and shared experience and knowledge. And we've had wonderful information, advice from these leading CEOs. They are here in Kenya on a tour to also learn, and they'll be visiting some of our SACCOs, Police SACCO, Imarisha SACCO, and Boresha SACCO. And they will also have a moment with the movement on Wednesday in Naivasha. And America and the rest of the world, America North and South, have done very well as far as financial inclusion and literacy among its people and members. We have, for example, the CEO of School First, who has a membership of 1.26 million people and an asset base of over $4 billion US. And we pride ourselves also as a country with the developments that we have already seen in the past and more that we are rolling. We are happy that the Central Liquidity Facility is now before Cabinet, and the Deposit Protection Fund, which again will assure our members of the safety of their money and assure the country that a shilling in a SACCO is as safe as a shilling in a bank. So considering that this administration is focusing on bottom-up economic transformation, it's all about financial inclusion. It's all about financial penetration. It's all about leaving no one behind. And the value chain approach is one way of addressing financial inclusion. So I really take this opportunity on behalf of the people of Kenya, the government of Kenya, and our president, and also the Ministry of Cooperatives, to welcome our brothers from the United States and the United Kingdom to Kenya. And I will invite them to visit, hear, learn, and also share experiences with some of our SACCOs. I also encourage them as they travel around the country, they enjoy the flora and fauna of our country. We have lions, we have elephants, we have so much. Other than financial services, we can also enjoy the trip and the safari. And I look forward that you will come again to see what we have done and how far we've grown, even in future. We've also participated in their conferences. I participated a few months ago in the African American Credit Union. and we learned a lot. We learned about shared services among SACCOs. We don't have to compete. We don't have to be in competition. We can share utilities. We can share technology. We can share equipment. We can pool our resources and even support the upcoming SACCOs. So all these are lessons that we learned from the United States and also United Kingdom. So ideally, that is what I can say today. I want to thank ACOSCA for really championing the cause of SACCO development in Kenya. We recently participated in Botswana, and I received the flag to host the next SACCO conference in Kenya next year. I want to invite America credit unions, the United Kingdom credit unions, to join us as we host the next SACCO conference, which is really the largest cooperative conference in Africa. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Thank you.
You can come this way.
California in the United States, and this has been a wonderful opportunity. Cabinet Secretary, thank you, and to your team here in Kenya. I've had an opportunity to visit your beautiful country several times, and it's amazing to see how far the SACCOs have come with the support of the government and yourself, with the support of ACOSCA, and all of the sharing, the leadership development that happens through ACOSCA, the development education program. What a huge difference. And the two things you mentioned that are before the cabinet now, the deposit guarantee is so important. Everything you're doing to encourage the development of SACCOs in this country. Our credit union movement in the United States now is about 4,800 credit unions, 130 million members, almost $2 trillion in assets in U.S. credit unions. And you talk about the bottom-up economy. That's exactly how credit unions developed in the United States. The Federal Credit Union Act in the United States was created during the Great Depression in 1934, when the banking industry was failing the people because of the Great Depression. And credit unions were able to step in and now serve more than a third of the population in the United States. And so thank you for your leadership. And I will be here next year for the SACCO Congress in Kenya, and very much looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Again, Cabinet Secretary.
What will likely to be the percentage that members will be paid to secure that?
Of course, all the deposit guarantee funds are insurance-based, and it's contributory by members and those who participate in this deposit protection. As you know, in our constitution, the process we follow in enacting bills and regulations have to follow certain protocol. We have to engage and collect views from stakeholders so that when we now enact the laws and regulation, we will have exhausted all the stakeholder consultation. So as we speak now, we've just finalized the draft. The stakeholders are being engaged, and that is a requirement. So as soon as all that is done, which we project to be another 2 months, we should have concluded all the views and collected all the stakeholders' comments, and then now we should be ready to table it. I'm looking forward to fast-tracking it so that as we cross the new year, we should have given it the approval, and then it moves to Parliament for enactment, for debate and enactment. So in my projection, by March, we should be having, we should have operationalized, and we should have a law around the deposit protection fund, deposit guarantee fund, and central liquidity facility.
How do you envision the future of cooperatives and partnerships in Kenya, and what is the ministry's long-term growth now that we've seen that you're hosting an education?
Oh, thank you very much. I think the road ahead is exciting and promising. And given the development that we've seen and the impact, the ability to aggregate and pull people together. We've had people who had no homes, they didn't have shelter. But through cooperatives, the housing cooperative, they were able to buy land and develop jointly low-cost, affordable housing. And therefore, through the cooperative, the SACCOs and the cooperative movement, we've been able to empower people. We've been able to provide settlement of people, which is a basic need. The second issue is that families who had no capacity to take their children to school, payment of fees, through the SACCOs and cooperatives, they've been empowered, and they have been able to provide for their families and children to go to any school of their choice, given the financial support they get from the SACCOs. I look forward that our production and farming sector in the cooperative movement, like the coffee which has gone down, will again be revived through the energy we are putting in the SACCO, and we believe we'll move our production from 50,000 metric tons to 200,000 metric tons. We look forward to lifting our milk production through the cooperative movement from 4.2 billion liters per year to 10.2 billion liters per year. All these are the projections we see in the cooperative movement. So the way to go is the cooperative model. One man can walk a certain distance, but if we want to go far, we come together. Cooperative movement has been tested and proven as the model that can empower the bottom of the pyramid, the common people, and that is the mantra of this administration.
My final question will be, are there any plans by the government to aim at promoting the adoption of digital tools?
Me to take part in the development education program, and in just those very short 9 years, I have seen this country grow enormously through the work that ACOSCA is doing and helping its people. And again, Minister, bottom up. It works every time. Go to the people, support the people, help the people on their journey, and the people will build the country. So I am so delighted to be here and so proud to be part of this Kenyan movement and this African continent and all the work that's being done. It is tremendous, and I look forward to coming back time and time again and seeing all these great initiatives that the government is putting in place to ensure that the SACCO movement is strong and it is there for the people. So congratulations to you and your government. Thank you.
Last one.
Well, thank you, Cabinet Secretary, for the invitation to be here and to be among the people of Kenya to talk about SACCOs and credit unions and what we offer. I'm from the United States, from North Carolina in particular, and my credit union serves city and county employees. So the conversation we've had about how do we help our respective members is a bilateral conversation. We've come from the United States not to just teach what we do, but to learn from you. And we have shared values about cooperative nature, about the elements that make us a cooperative, helping each other, member-owned, democratically controlled. These are the things that knit us together. So for any Kenyan citizen who's not a member of a SACCOs, you are missing out. So you should find this as an opportunity to join your local SACCOs, to support it. It makes for a growing, strong community, for a strong family, and for a strong credit union and SACCOs network. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one question.
Yeah.
The issue of the deposit, the regulate central.
Maybe to enhance marketing and distribution and management of cooperative operations.
Thank you very much for that question. I think you know, among the pillars of this administration development, we have the MSME, we have the ICT and digital superhighway development. We have recently had a day, you remember the first holiday celebrations we had in December this last year. The theme of that celebration was ICT. And as you've seen, we've been on it, and we have launched so many cyber hubs. We are targeting 25,000 cyber hubs so that the small wholesaler and hawker of vegetables in the village can actually showcase our wares on a platform. The e-commerce, which has been, which is a cheaper way of supporting the small enterprises, has really taken shape. We have the penetration of M-Pesa, the financial services across 22 million Kenyans are already on mobile network, and they have their M-Pesa services. And further, through the Ministry of Cooperatives, we are now promoting the networking of various cooperatives we are networking various circles, and we are networking from farm to market. This way, recently you also saw me and the Deputy President do launch the Nairobi Coffee Exchange. We are expecting that that transformation will open up that market to any Kenyan or to any interested buyer of our coffee, either in America or in Japan, to participate in the bidding and purchase of our coffee. So by digital transformation of our economy, we believe will open up and will give more people opportunities to grow.
Bwana Waziri, huu mkutano una maana gani kwa vyama vya ushirika kwa ujumla?
Vyama vya Kenya tumetoka mbali na tunaenda mbali, na ushirikiano wetu na hawa ndugu zetu kutoka Amerikani ni kulete uwiano na kati yetu, ushirika kati yetu na wao, tukikumbuka kwamba wao wamepiga hatua kubwa sana. Ukizungumza kama Bill Jenny hapa, yeye ni mkurugenzi mkuu wa ushirika wa walimu wa Amerika. Wako na wanashirika 1.260 na wako na fedha ama assets zaidi ya bilioni 400 ya pesa ya Kiamerika. So ushirikiano wetu na safari yao kukuja Kenya ni kutengeneza urafiki, na pia kutokana na maombi yetu kwamba wakija hapa tunaweza kujifunza moja mbili kutoka kwao. Tunataka kuangalia mambo ya usimamizi wa kusimamia mashirika zetu. Pili, vile wanawekesha pesa yao, ile wanakota kutoka kwa wanashirika, vile wanaweka, vile inalindwa na vile inachungwa. Ndio kesho ama hawa wanashirika wanapohitaji huduma yoyote, wanaweza kutembea, wanaweza kuenda kwa shirika lao na waweze kusaidika vile waliaigizwa wakijiunga kama wanashirika. Asante.
Mwisho kutoka kwangu hapa waziri, kuhusiana na swala la Hustler Fund. Rais alisema kwamba Wakenya wanasema kwamba wanalalama kwamba haisongi kwa hapo tu. Umepiga hatua?
The Hustler, unataka Kiswahili or English? English.
Mwenye swali na Kiswahili.
I'll use both. The last question, The Hustler Fund is a government intervention to correct a market failure in accessing financial services. You remember before this administration, we had so many digital lenders giving out loans at the rate of 1 to 2% per day. And that put many Kenyans, over 8 million Kenyans, in the Credit Reference Bureau. To address that problem, this administration, led by President William RUTO, came up with the Hustler Fund, a 50 billion fund per year to correct and address that problem. We began in earnest on 30th of November last year. And the rate of membership or onboarding of members was at one time 325,000 Kenyans joining per second. Today we have 22 million Kenyans on board. We have already lent out 38 billion shillings to those Kenyans. And we have already got paid back 28 billion shillings. A repayment rate of 72%. All without security and working and only using credit score. When we began, we did not have any history of these Kenyans. We used their mobile airtime usage, we used their M-Pesa usage to score them. Today we have 1 year data to score these Kenyans. And I want to tell you today, we have a Kenyan who has borrowed in the last 1 year 1,309 times, accumulating over 32,000 shillings in his account. He's a pastor, he's a 74-year-old man who moved from central Kenya here to Eldoret and has been borrowing. I gave him a call, asked him who he is. He's a pastor and he has a boda motorcycle. He pays his fuel using M-Pesa and is paid through M-Pesa. He borrows from Asla Fund. We have another Kenyan who has borrowed to date 4.5 million shillings, has borrowed more than 816. In total, 816 times. In total, over 1 million of those Kenyans have borrowed more than 10 times. It means, therefore, the Asla Fund is working and really touching lives, especially Kenyans who had no access to any facility. They could have had access, but very expensive financial at a very expensive financial cost. Now, Mr. President did ask me to review the scoring. We have had one review since we began, and we have Kenyans like that Kenyan who has borrowed 1,309 times, still at 500 shillings. Even looking at his savings, even looking at his borrowing character, it's clear that this is a reliable borrower. So we have then introduced the scoring. We've altered the scoring engine to also incorporate the savings so that we can lift up those who began at a very low rate to now a reasonable rate. The technical team are working on it, and I believe by the 9th, which is on Thursday, before the State of the Nation speech, we will have a formula on how to raise. We've already had discussions with the technical team, and we will be able to make an announcement before the end of this week.
The very last one, the supplementary budget was reduced.
Kindly, thank you, Waziri. Allow me to request a group photo with the leaders here. Kindly.